From the printing press to the steam engine to the Declaration of Human Rights, the world's most transformative ideas sprouted from the seeds of critical thinking. Stephen Hawking, Marie Curie, David Suzuki, Albert Einstein. Virtually all of the greatest innovators have critical thinking skills to thank. Their refusal to accept things at face value and their ability to look where others weren't led to groundbreaking discoveries. Critical thinkers have also changed the structures and systems that shape our social lives. Martin Luther King Jr. thought critically about race. Malala Yousafzai questioned how we view girls' education. It's how this eventually turned into this. But here's the thing. Critical thinking isn't just about solving problems. It's about seeking context, identifying all of the gray areas that can help us deepen our understanding. Think of how a football coach spends the game, watching, assessing the weaknesses of the other team, and then crafting strategies in real time.
It's not just the facts. The facts are great. They often change as we learn more, but the big thing is to get the process.
Good critical thinkers don't just look at something and react. Instead, they look at different perspectives. They ask questions, consider context, look for patterns, and then weigh the evidence. Kind of like a judge in their own personal court of law. And you don't have to be a famous thinker or athlete to do it. Imagine you're at the grocery store and you see bananas for 59 cents a pound. You might be thrilled. It's reasonable to celebrate affordable food. But you might also ask, how can a fruit shipped from another hemisphere cost so little? How much did the farmers get? How much were the laborers paid? Asking questions doesn't mean you think those bananas should be more expensive. It just means you want to better understand the world you live in. Critical thinking uses what neuroscientists sometimes refer to as the higher brain. Located in the prefrontal cortex, the size of our prefrontal cortex and our capacity for critical thinking is a big part of what separates us from animals. Animals are much more dependent on their reactive lower brains to survive. For example, while your dog might be thinking, I want to go outside, it's much less likely that he's asking himself, why do I want to go outside? Some would even argue that this ability to think about thinking is what makes us human. But let's get one thing straight. While we all have the capacity to do it, critical thinking can be hard. It's not the most natural process. It might even feel a little uncomfortable. Studies show that human thinking, if left unchecked, can easily gravitate towards prejudice, overgeneralizations, fallacies, and a long list of what's called cognitive biases. Every day, we naturally ignore some of the information that's coming into the brain. Seriously, everyone does this. By using these kinds of mental shortcuts, we can make decisions faster and make problems less complicated. It's how our brains deal with the complexities of our lives without becoming completely overwhelmed. But this also means that a lot of information gets left out, so our perspective might be limited. Many of the truths that we cling to depend on our point of view. Those are the words of another great critical thinker, the Jedi Master himself, Obi-Wan Kenobi, referring to the way our own beliefs often color the way we see the world.
Okay. I'm not saying we need to trash the environment, but do I believe in climate change? No.
We live in a strange world where everyone can choose their own reality and buy their own truth.
So part of critical thinking is attempting to interrupt our own mental shortcuts to overrule these reflexes and biases.
So what's happening here is there are people who have cultural, political, religious, economic philosophies that they then invoke when they want to cherry pick one scientific result or another.
And acknowledging that the information we're ingesting is created by people who might have their own biases or agendas.
Good morning. Welcome to my kitchen. Every morning, without fail, I take my Goop Glow.
If you're a student, you'll probably be evaluated on whether you can show critical thinking. Now more than ever, universities are considering critical thinking a core set of skills for success in academia and the workforce. We live in a world of ever-accelerating change, a world where information is multiplying at an inconceivable rate. Ideas are constantly being rethought, restructured, and revised, which means job skills must be upgraded or transformed. Meanwhile, facts that we once had to memorize are now just a swipe away. And machines are handling the bulk of our predictable or repetitive tasks. But the world is an increasingly complicated place with a ton of problems a Google search can't solve. Things like climate change, mental health issues, or income inequality. Of course, we still need knowledge, but that alone won't be enough. To succeed in tomorrow's world, we need more critical thinking. So, a couple of tips. When it comes to academics, consider critical thinking as a step beyond simply storing knowledge. When you're reading or studying, you're not just gathering information. You want to ask questions about what you're reading. Not just who is the author, but why did they write this piece? Do they have potential biases or gaps in knowledge? Are they responding to a larger conversation? Not just what is their argument, but when and where was this idea formed? And does that make the findings more or less relevant to you? Are there other scholars who disagree? Is this idea part of a larger narrative? These things likely won't be explicitly stated, so you'll need to dig a little deeper. And remember to check those unconscious biases. Set aside your feelings, your worldview, your politics, and any ideas about what you want the truth to be. Finally, if you're writing, give yourself time to think deeper about the arguments and evidence you're taking in. Analyze a wide range of information to see how it can be linked, grouped, or categorized, and use that information as a foundation to form your own point of view. Often, showing your critical thinking is less about what your actual argument is, and more about how you got there, and whether you can support it. In this case, the journey is just as important as the destination. Critical thinking isn't simple, and it's just not possible for us to dig into every aspect of it here. But remember, if you're asking questions, you're on the right path. And when you find answers to those questions, keep asking more. Because if you can master critical thinking in school, you can master it in life. So stay curious, go further, dig deeper, and you'll be ready for whatever life throws at you.